I wanted to bring you this truly extraordinary moment from the US Senate. Now, during a fiery hearing on abortion laws, Professor of Law at the University of Berkeley, Kiara Bridges, sensationally accused Republican Senator Josh Hawley of endangering the lives of trans people after he asked the most horrific of questions for any lefty snowflake: are women the only people capable of getting pregnant? Watch.
Professor Bridges, you said several times, you've used a phrase, I want to make sure I understand what you mean by it. You've referred to people with a capacity for pregnancy. Would that be women?
Many women, cis women, have the capacity for pregnancy. Many cis women do not have the capacity for pregnancy. There are also trans men who are capable of pregnancy, as well as non-binary people who are capable of pregnancy.
So this isn't really a women's rights issue.
We can recognize that this impacts women while also recognizing that it impacts other groups. Those things are not mutually exclusive, Senator Hawley.
Oh, so your view is that the core of this right then is about what?
So I want to recognize that your line of questioning is transphobic, and it opens up trans people to violence by not recognizing that.
Wow, you're saying that I'm opening up people to violence by asking whether or not women are the folks who can have pregnancies?
So I want to note that 1 out of 5 transgender persons have attempted suicide. So I think it's important.
Because of my line of questioning? So we can't talk about it?
Because denying that trans people exist and pretending not to know that they exist.
I'm denying that trans people exist by asking you if you're talking about women having pregnancies?
Do you believe that men can get pregnant?
No, I don't think women can get pregnant.
So you are denying that trans people exist?
And that leads to violence? Is this how you run your classroom? Are students allowed to question you?
Absolutely.
Or are they also treated like this? Where
No,
they're told that they're opening up people to violence?
We have a good time in my class. You should join.
Oh, I bet.
You might learn a lot.
Wow, I would learn a lot. I've learned a lot just in this exchange.
Absolutely.
Extraordinary.
Yep.
I mean, honestly, that woman is so divorced from reality, she might as well be a flat earther. This is the level of debate now happening in the US Senate. Can you believe it?
Interestingly, today in the Daily Mail, my esteemed newspaper, there was a poll of 7,000 people who explored a millefeuille, which is a French cake, many layers, of the issues around trans. And something like 95% of them said they did not want same-sex change rooms. They did not want people who are transitioning performing against born women in sport. You know, this kind of thing, it just makes you think that the accusations they make against you when you just say, actually, you know, I'm a woman, I'm born with all the bits. And you can't pretend to be me. You can dress like me, you can talk like me, you can wear my lipstick, but you can't actually be this thing that I am.
But actually, James, this was a whole other level. I mean, she's literally saying, if you don't say that you believe a man can get pregnant, then you are encouraging the suicides of trans people. I'm sorry, that is so wrong.
I actually found his tone very patronising. And look, I understand...
Really?
I understand that there can be debate around things such as women's sport, but I know trans people. They are some of the most vulnerable people in society, and whether we like it or not, they exist. And the facts are that
he wasn't denying that trans people exist.
If you transition and you are a trans man and you have a uterus, then you can give birth.
You can't have
Hold on, right, one final thing. Hold on, I'm going to say some facts. I'm going to say some facts for the viewers. I tweeted this and it went viral. Women cannot have penises and men cannot get pregnant. That is a fact.
You're denying
no, I'm not denying anything.
Trans
people need rights, but not
at the expense of
not at the expense of women.
Or science.
Or science. Look, this is facts, and we move on now, and thankfully politicians...
Actually, can I just ask you seriously, actually? A very simple question.
Yeah.
You think a man can get pregnant? Do you believe a man can get pregnant?
I think that trans men...
That's not a man.
Wasn't what was asked.
That's not a man.
It's not a black and white subject. It isn't. And actually, most trans women will say that, of course, they can't relate to our experiences as women, as teenage girls. But they are also victims of the patriarchy, and they are also a very vulnerable, if not more vulnerable group. And they exist whether we like it or not.
But actually, the point was,
it's different.
He wasn't talking about trans. She wasn't talking about trans men. She just wanted to use the term men, and that's my issue with that. But Ashley James, Adam Brooks.
Ashley has a really fair point here, because it's quite important that generationally, Ashley represents a much younger view of people who are more...
And it's important that we put her right on this fact.
And, of course, you can have that view, but a view doesn't change science and doesn't change biology.
What I don't like is that people are saying that you can't be a feminist if you also believe in trans rights, and that is not true. I am such a strong feminist, and my experiences of women, of course, are uncomparable to that of someone who has been raised as a man, but trans women and men exist.
I get all of that. I get all of that, but a man cannot.